Welcome on in, Priscilla Tracarico coming into you live. If this is the first time you have come into my world, I'd love to give you a warm welcome. If you are someone that watches me quite a bit, then hello again. If you are watching the replay, make sure you say hi, because I love to say hi back and just really enjoy that you are here. Today I had such a beautiful experience. I had such a beautiful experience with a woman on her podcast. I just wanted to come on and share with my community how beautiful it is when you are met with someone that is open. You are met with someone that is connected. You are met with someone that is so consciously aware of everything they're doing. Like, this is what we are here to share with each other, to share knowledge with each other, to connect with each other, and really open ourselves up on social media. Open up our impact, open up our inspiration. And when you have women coming together doing this as a collective, there is nothing more beautiful. Like, it just feels so empowering. It feels so connecting. It feels like this is the evolution of us. And so I wanted to celebrate this because it just feels so expansive when we're able to support each other, when we're able to back each other up, when we're able to open up things for each other. And this is what I'm seeing more and more of, is like this belonging with each other as women. As we walk through and we like open up our consciousness, we walk through and we shift the stories of the past where we don't belong, where we don't fit in. When we're able to work with each other in a level where we all have power, in a level where we can all support each other, we are here to do great things. And so this morning was just such a beautiful claiming of that, such a beautiful experience of that I wanted to come out here and share some things with you. And one of the things that I've had a lot of questions around, one of the things that I've had a lot of like things asked about was my sacred triad work. So I'm going to share with you a bit more on what that actually means. And so one of the things that I love to expand in women, one of the things that I love to open up, is this life force energy. Like, I see the work that I do with women, and it's like this life force expansion. And you know, when we are faced with the growth on social media, when we are faced with such big missions that we have, it's more than the normal capacity. We're faced with people looking at us. We're faced with people judging us. We're faced with people questioning us. And when we step into that, when we go to the next level and the next level and the next level, and we grow our impact, we grow our transformations, and we step into who we came here to be, the reality of that is that it can pull us back. Like, we can get to that experience where there's so many real life events, real life situations where people say hurtful things, do hurtful things, that pull us back. Whether it's people in our programs or just people on social media that have nothing to do with our programs, that have nothing to do with our work, and they just want to put their 2 cents in about what they think or they feel or they've heard. And these experiences that build up in our bodies, these experiences pull away from our life force. And so one of the biggest joys has been working with women to really build that life force from within them, like deep within them, to expand that. And I see this work as their expansion, because ultimately I've felt the expansion within myself, and sharing that with my clients, sharing that with my community is like such a blessing, to be able to ripple that expansion through. And you know, I was asked today what I would like, you know, in 100 years' time to be remembered for. And it's this expansion. Because as we grow our businesses, as we grow our wealth, the expansion that happens with the transformations we provide, with the income we receive, with everything that grows and evolves. But if we can't harness that into a real bliss in our business, a real joy for what we're doing, a real passion and fire and fulfillment for what we're doing, if we can't ripple that through to our lives, as this is the thing, right? It's like when I first started as an entrepreneur 20 years ago, that was my first ever business that I had. It was a bricks and mortar business. My aim was to make money. It was like, well, I want to be able to reach a certain level of success. It's like, I want to learn how to be a good businesswoman. And so the financial milestones were a big indicator of whether I was good at that or not. It's like the amount of money coming in was almost like a validation that we were doing a good job. It was like if we had a certain amount of money coming in, then we knew that we were nailing the business role, like that entrepreneurial fire, that entrepreneurial success, that we had hit that. But then I got to a stage where I got married and I wanted to have children, and I wanted to fulfill things within my life that weren't monetary, that were just like deep needs, deep desires within me that I just really wanted to make a reality. And I think as women, we're faced with this like desire to be a mother, a desire to be a lover, a desire to be successful, and a desire to feel good within our bodies. And when one of these things is pulled back, when one of these things doesn't quite follow through, it kind of like can undo the weaving that supports us. You know, like when someone knits and they weave together the string, and then eventually as it weaves together it turns into something like a hat or a jumper. But if one of the pieces is pulled and is undone, it can pull away at the fabric of the whole. And this is what I see a lot in the coaching, mentoring, healing, like the business women space. Is like there's something that pops up within their life experience, and then it pulls away at the thread, at the fabric of who they are. And we weave together things. If one part isn't quite coming together, we allow that to pull away at other parts of us. And this is what I'm here to help you step into understanding. Because when we have parts of us that are pulled out from the weaving fabric that supports us, from the weaving fabric that allows us to feel good within ourselves, to show up within our business in a way that feels amazing. When we have something pull at that, and it pulls us back, we shy away from showing up in our conviction. We shy away from showing up in the truth of who we are. We shy away from being like standing in our full mission. And some of the things that happen are that we get pulled within ourselves on what our mission is. Oh my goodness, I've had this experience so much myself. It's like I'm a manifesting generator. I'm a 1-3 manifesting generator. And I have multiple missions. And the number of times where one mission has been clear, but then the other mission, it's like they get superimposed, or they're not quite, you don't know where to shuffle them. And when we get in this phase where there's confusion on where we're going, it's like, imagine you were going somewhere, but you couldn't decide whether you were going to go to the grocery store first, or you were going to go to the to get a haircut. And you stood there waiting to get in your car because you couldn't decide whether you were going to go to the grocery store first or get a haircut. And this is what we do in our businesses. If we lack clarity, or we lack a certain part of what we're doing, it's like maybe one of our programs isn't quite clear, one of the containers, or we don't know whether to split one of our teachings in one container into 2 containers, or that our memberships, how they're structured, or the tiers or the different levels. And it's like the decision of where to place things, the decision of how to navigate the programs and how to share them with the world, is like standing there and not going to the grocery store or not going to the hairdressers because you're not sure which one to do first. And this is the experience of the reality that people are faced with when they run their online businesses. It's like they've got so many balls in the air. There's so many things happening at the one time. Not only are we looking at navigating how our programs look and how they're structured and what we do in each container, but then on top of that, we're navigating our lives. We're navigating the role of the lover. We're navigating the role of like how we feel within our bodies, whether there is health within our bodies or whether there's symptoms of dis-ease. And then we're navigating the mother role, whether it's you're longing to be a mother and you're going through a journey where you're opening up fertility, and whether you've like had that open up or you haven't, then becomes a pulling on the thread of the fabric of who we are. And that ripples through then within our business if we let it. Like some people pride themselves on their capacity to control their consciousness and open up their energy within their containers regardless of what's going on in their lives. And to an extent, when you've got people coming into your programs, you've got to show up for them, right? They've paid to come into your programs and you are there to support them. You've made a commitment, just like they've made a commitment to pay you. You've made a commitment by receiving the money that you will support them, right? So there's a level that we need to show up. When someone has paid for our containers, it's like we're there and we show up. And so if these things are happening in the background in our lives where there's pulling away at our fabric of who we are, if there's something pulling away at the fabric of whether we can become a mother or not, whether we can conceive a child, or if you've conceived a child and you've lost a child, these things happening in the background affect us. Or maybe you've had children and you've had situations with your children where there's just like a massive responsibility. Like I've experienced things where, you know, there were things going on in my children's lives, and as their guardian, as their parent, like the support that I need to provide for them. I need to be there for them. And these day-to-day things that show up in our lives pull at us. They pull at the strings of us. And somehow we can connect our worthiness, or whether we do a good job in our business, related to whether we're able to do certain things within our lives. And this is what pulls away at the fabric of who we are, who we perceive ourselves to be. And what I want to open up for you is this capacity to build your life force energy. And then as you build your life force energy, then the reality of what is gets to shift. If there are things that aren't how you'd like them to be, then the connection of your life force energy allows the space for the fabric of the things that aren't in place to shift into place. Instead of the pattern where the things that aren't in place pull away at the fabric of who we are, and then that pulls away at how we show up in our lives. But this is the natural response, right? If we've been ridiculed online, if we've been attacked online, if we've had people judge us online, the natural response of the body is a defense. The natural response of the body is to tighten up. The natural response is to think through what we can do to shift it, maybe what we've done wrong or what we need to do to be better. And one of the things that comes up instantaneously is we need to let go of what people think. We need to not care what people think. And a lot of women step into that. It's like they choose the power of not caring. But for me, this only works for a certain amount of time. It's like you can block off consciously and not caring, especially when someone has hurt you, especially when someone has done something like that caused you pain. We can put this block up and say, I don't care. It's easy to do that when someone's hurt us. But then eventually that block will block us in some way. And so my work with the sacred triad is not about putting up a stop and a not caring. But when we weave through these connections of our sacred triad, then we open up a life force energy within us that allows a space to ripple through. Because ultimately we are in charge of what happens in our reality. The choices that we make and the things that we do will ultimately shape what our life is. Every part of your life at the moment is a reality that you've created for yourself. The scaffolding of how you connect to the three-dimensional world was created by you. And in essence, it is like a simulation, because the scaffolding you created puts a boundary of what you can perceive. Like we lay down a physical boundary of what we perceive, how we connect to the world. And that in itself, like, scaffolds it. It defines it. And that scaffolding is like a protection for us. Just imagine what people use scaffolding for when they are going high up on a building and they're changing something on the facade of the building and they stand up on the scaffolding. It supports them. The scaffolding of our beliefs is the same. It's like it is how we connect to the world. We chose it because it made sense to us. We chose it because it's how we decided to connect to the physical, the three-dimensional. But just because we chose one way of connecting to the three-dimensional doesn't mean that there aren't other ways. And so this is what more and more women are stepping into, is that they're opening up this reality that it was a simulation, that there were things that they perceived that weren't the reality. And as we open that up more and more, as we see multiple truths, we can get stuck in this kind of like, well, not stuck, but it's like this interface of our simulation versus the interface of the reality that we've created. And this is what I find a lot of business women are faced with, is this interface between the scaffolding that they've created to support themselves in their business and their lives versus where they're going with their mission. And it's like when we have this mission clear, a lot of us think when we have this mission clear, when we have the full download, when we have like this absolute, you know how on TVs you can get this really high definition, and so we expect this really high definition instruction of what we're going to do in our business. And when we don't receive it, we feel like there's something wrong with us, and we have this interface where we're kind of like, I haven't received the mission in clarity. What I want to tell you is that there'll be times when your mission is not fully clear. You'll get bits of it. You'll get pieces of it. And it's like when you're driving at night and it's raining and you know the road is there. You see the lines, but they're not 100% because it's dark and it's raining. How do you manage to keep on the road? How do you manage to stay in between the lines? And it's this knowing of what is there. And this is the sense that we need to bring in when we have this growth in our business. It's like the reality of the future, their future memories. You have a knowing within your soul. The memory of the future exists within your soul, and as you drive down the road of making it a reality, the clarity will come, but you know it's there. And you don't have to have the three-dimensional vision of it come in. Sometimes it's a feeling, sometimes it's like you hear something, and then bit by bit, as it comes into reality, it becomes more and more clear. But the reason you don't get like a high definition picture of it each time you receive your download of where you're going in your business, each time you're opening up more growth in your business, is because each moment it shifts slightly. Each moment there's like a 1 degree adjustment. And so we can't have the fully finished product when we're in the making of it. And the fully finished can only be received in hindsight, in the moment and in hindsight. And so each moment we're still in creation of it. And when we bring together the sacred triad, when we fully open that up, you get to feel that. You get to step in that. Because one of the things that I have found in my business is I've had women come to me that are very advanced spiritually. And I've had women come to me that are very advanced somatically. And I've had women come to me that are very advanced in their mindset. Like they use logic. And so each of these gifts, they come with a level of growth, right? The women that have their mindset that is sharp and they do things in their business with clarity and strategy, and they open up more and more and more. And then they get to the point where they realize that they've got the money, but the fulfillment isn't fully there. They've relied on external validation. They've relied on proof and evidence. And then you get some that are so clear with their spiritual gifts. They teach their spiritual gifts and their connection with God, Source. There's such clarity. There's so much like truth that they're able to access. And it's so clear. It's so pure that just literally being in their presence opens up like this expansion of love, this expansion of like feeling good within your body. Because when we tap into Source, when we tap into God, when we tap into this love energy, we can expand it within ourselves. But the thing that happens that I've had experience with is this Source connection lasts for the connection time, but then when they come back into the body, it shifts into the physical realm of what's happening within the body. And this experience of the weaving and the pulling, the undoing. And this is what we do as women when we don't have a piece of us that is connected and fulfilled. Whether that be the mother role that isn't connected and fulfilled. We tug at the string, we pull at the string, and as we pull at the string, it undoes our like fabric of ourselves. And this can happen at the health perspective. This can happen at the success perspective. This can happen at the relationship perspective, where if we've not connected with a part of us that desires that desires to be a mother, or that desires to be in a soulful relationship, a really deep connected relationship. Or if we desire to have a certain level of success in our business and we haven't reached it yet, each of those pillars pull on the fabric of ourselves. And so even if we might reach these connections with Source, these connections with God that are so deep and powerful, and we're able to open up the love for ourselves, if the sacred triad isn't fully connected, we get pulled into this laxity of our support, of our inner support. And yeah, if you think about it as this thread being pulled, it's the thread that is pulled that we pull into a story of ourselves. And when that thread is pulled, it pulls away at the scaffolding of us. And blaming our beliefs or blaming the scaffolding, blaming past experiences, only weakens the support within us. And so the work that I do with the sacred triad is connecting the pieces within us. Because light can only be transmitted within us when there's a translucence for the light to get in. When there's opacity in the connection somewhere, the opacity doesn't allow the light to transmit. And so this is what we open up in the sacred triad, is that we find those areas where there is an opacity. It doesn't quite connect the light through. And it's not your shadow that causes the opacity. Like a lot of people blame their ego. A lot of people blame their shadow. But in my construct of the sacred triad, our shadow, our ego, is not the one that causes the translucence. The translucence could only be cleared by opening up each individual strand. And we open up the strand and we shift the matrix of it. We shift the alignment of it. Because the misalignment is what causes it to be opaque. For something to be translucent in physics, it needs to have a certain shape. If something gets in the way of that shape, that's how it becomes opaque. I guess the way to think about it is when my fingers are faced like that, the light can get through. But if I change the orientation, if I change the alignment, then it shifts the translucence. And so my work with connecting up this sacred triad works on a level of soul and science. We bring together the soulful part, the source part, and we also bring the physics, like the quantum physics and the science to it. And when we marry those together, there comes like this beautiful expansion. Because a lot of the women that I work with come from different backgrounds, and it's allowed me to see this beautiful, this beautiful reality of the different experiences that people have. And let's say I've got a woman in my container that has had a really strong connection with source and teaches that, teaches the light language, teaches the depths of how to connect with God and how to step into their soul's purpose and how to do that with clarity. And then on the other hand, I've got someone in my containers who understands the somatic aspects of it. They've looked into this idea that the body remembers. They've looked into this concept of the different ways in which the nervous system regulates itself. And the differences in how these two women navigate themselves, when we bring that together, there's an opening that is created. And that's how the light fully gets through. And it's not about just harnessing our connection to Source, to God. It's not about just harnessing our somatic body. It's not about pushing out the mind, because this is a big one that happens in both the somatic and the spiritual sides, is that there's this feeling that when we go into logic, when we go into the thinking mind, that it becomes the monkey mind. But in my world, it only becomes the monkey mind when we've had experiences that create that in the body. If the womb is contracted, the mind becomes a monkey mind. The mind becomes an overthinking mind, because there is not enough space in the body for the mind to do what it's meant to do. And so a lot of women try to shut out the mind to connect to Source or to connect to their body. But in the sacred triad, we bring together Source, sacral, and the womb space, and the mind. We create a connection within each part. And when we do that, it brings about a different feeling. It brings about a different feeling to when we do it individually. I've gone deep into the spiritual connections, meditated to the point where I can connect so deeply with Source, so deeply into the love, into the light, But when I felt I came back into my body, the reality of the feelings, the reality of the duality pulled at the strings. And when we have a business to run, when we have clients to support, if we can open up that life force energy within with clarity, with purpose, with a depth and a width to the wisdom that we provide, when we open up that generator within us, it's like we can generate our power, and we don't have to be in the pit of our emotions. We experience the emotions, but whenever you're pulled back in the pit of something, if you find yourself grappling with a difficult experience and you're in it for a day or more, it means that you are in the pit. And being in the pit is not a necessity. Like, it's not something that is part of the human experience. And this is where a lot of women that are in the personal development space end up going, well, I'm just going to surrender to what is. This is a learning. I'm meant to learn this, or I'm meant to experience this. And I'm here to tell you it's not the truth. Not everything that you experience that is a difficult emotion is there for you to learn from. Not everything is a necessity for you to experience. Just because there's a duality in life doesn't mean that you have to constantly go in the pit. And this is where the connection is so vital and important, is because we, in the personal development space, to be good as a leader, to be good as someone who supports others, we actually have to get good at coping with duality. Like, we have to get good at coping when things are hard. We have to get good at showing up when something isn't how we want it to be. It's just when we get so used to showing up and being in this powerful, radiant, high-level energy, even when things aren't quite right, we get used to that, we adapt to that. And this is what I'm seeing a lot of. I'm seeing a lot of, well, we've had to get used to this duality. I've gotten strong at surrendering to the fact that I know that it's not going to be perfect, it's not going to be right all the time. And it's true, right? We don't want to expect perfect. It doesn't have to be right all the time. But surrendering to and letting go of our dreams, because we keep getting tough things coming into us. It's like if you have a dream to be a mother and you let that go because it's been really difficult to pursue the dream. If you have infertility or you've experienced a miscarriage, and the grief and the difficulty of coping with that has pulled you back from trying again because you don't want to feel bad with your clients. You don't want to show up in an energy where you're not in your power with your clients. It's like you've committed to your clients. They've paid you. And you want to show up in your full energy. But if you hold back a part of yourself because you don't want to show up in a way where you're not fully engaged, fully powerful, fully present, because you know that pursuing the thing that pulls you, the want to be a mother, the desire to be a mother, you put it on the back burner because you don't want it to get in the way of how you deliver your programs to your clients. These are the things that happen day to day. We hold back a part of our dreams. We hold back a part of us that is so important to us because another thing is more important. I've done this myself so many times. I've gone to, like, I've got a mission that I want to come forth that I know is important. But because another piece of my life hasn't come together, I hold back on something. And when we open up the sacred triad, we open up something within that allows us to step into each and every one of our missions. As a light worker, as a healer, as a mentor, as a guide, you have many missions. And you will be good at being able to pull together a few of them. You may have been able to pull together an amazing business that's making a lot of money. You may have been able to pull together an amazing relationship with your partner. You may have been able to pull together really good health. Or you may have been able to pull together like conceiving and birthing a child. You may have been able to pull together being a mother to your children and supporting them as they grow and experiencing that which comes with supporting and being a guardian for a child. In each and every aspect of us that desires these on a physical plane, it's like we come here to fulfill these desires. But if one of them has shakiness, like if our relationship has a shakiness and it pulls at the fabric of our perception of us, if we can't conceive a child or if we have a miscarriage, it pulls at the fabric of how we perceive ourselves. If for some reason our children aren't thriving or there's something happening to our children and we feel their hurt, we feel their ripple, or if they're not connecting with us, like they've gone off and there's not this like peace that we long for as a mother to have a connection, because like once you have a child, we long for that connection to be present. And when it's not, we know. When it's not, we feel it. And then that can pull away at the fabric of how we show up in our business. This uniqueness of who we are as women in business, this uniqueness of what we bring in together, this uniqueness of our capacity to have emotions is what opens up such a distinct pathway in how we run our businesses. This uniqueness, harnessing that, harnessing our life force energy and opening up our life force energy as we connect into our emotions, our emotional intelligence, and how we navigate our business and our lives. This string of pulling it all together, of connecting it all, and feeling good within our body as we do it. The beauty of being able to do that and live a fulfilling, intimate life. This is what I'm here for. If I look back in 100 years and I look at the work and the ripple with the mentors, with the guides, with the healers, with the coaches that I've worked with, and if that ripples through into their businesses and it ripples through into their lives, it ripples into their capacity to like become pregnant and have children, and how then they shape their lives. This ripple is all of our missions. Like if you support others, you care about the fabric of others. And just putting up a block and saying, I don't care, to the collective is not going to work for you. If you deeply care about the fabric of others, and that's why you do what you do, then putting up a boundary and saying F you is not how you want it to be. When we step into the sacred triad, we're able to move as powerful leaders. We're able to step into our mission and still connect with all of these desires as a mother, as a lover, as a woman who wants success, as a woman who wants to feel good within her body and continue feeling good within her body. We get to bring all these things together. And this is what lights me up. This is what brings fire and passion to my work. And when I can step in and help women do that, when I can step in and open up this life force energy within them, I see that they bring this to their day-to-day, to their work, and then ripple it through to others. This is what I want to look back on in 100 years. And so this connection of the sacred triad, this work is so powerful. And if you'd like to step into it more deeply, if you'd like to open that up for yourselves, I've got 2 programs that I'm running at the moment, and body at the moment is 3,333. This is a program where we send voice notes to each other. So you can be anywhere in the world and we will send voice notes to each other to open up this sacred triad. If you are looking to grow your business, if you are looking to grow your intimacy, your connection, if you're opening up things in your relationships, if you're opening up things in your marriage, if you are stepping into this experience in your business where you are growing it, but you're also growing this love of life, and you want to step into it in a way where it brings together your unique sacred triad, then this is 12 sessions with me, 12 weeks where we work together. And you get voice notes back and forth that add up to about a 45-minute session each week. And so this connection is going to open up that translucence in your sacred triad. And when you bring that together, when we get to step into your unique opening to do that, your unique connection to do that, we get to open up something so powerful in your business that when you show up in that space, there is no limit going to hold you back. And this container is accessible to those who are in the beginning stages of business, the middle stages of business, or the high levels of business. So this is open to all levels. The sacred triad work that has somatic experiencing is open to those who are already established in business. This one is a 6-month container. And in this one we have Zoom meetings where we work with your physical body, your somatic body, as well as voice notes. So this one takes a bit more presence. But in saying that, it doesn't have to take more time. But why I shut out the very early stages of business for this is that those that are just starting their online business, the presence, that takes a certain level of something is done. So if you have already gotten to a stage where your business is like there's a lot that's done, you've been doing it for a while, then you can have a presence within your body where we go deeper into what is happening within you somatically that is interfering with that connection. And it may well be in the womb space. It may well be in another space, but that's why we have that 6-month container, where each week we make contact with each other to open up something. And that contact might only be 5-10 minutes each week. It might be 45 minutes each week. And it depends on the person, on where we go with this and what is needed with this. But the shifts that'll happen when you step into this sacred triad work, the shifts that you will experience, the depth that you'll experience within your body, is going to change your life, is going to change your business. And so the sacred triad, the 6-month container, that's $12,000. And if this is something that you are ready to open up in yourself, if this is something that you are ready to evolve with, then applications for this are through direct message only. So if you direct message me, then we can have a look and see if you are a fit for this program. The level of work that I bring to the table, whether it's in my free spaces like this, whether you watch me online and I share these things with you, whether you come into my body container and we do voice notes, whether you come into the sacred triad container, the sacred health container, where we have different touch points, where we have different levels of proximity. Each level is going to shift something in the fabric of you. Each level is going to shape you. And then the level that we choose depends on the individual. And so just listening to me in this space may be enough for you. Just tapping into my energy as I come here for like nearly an hour and share these stories, these experiences with you, that may be enough, and that's all that you need. Perhaps you know within you receive that hit that it's time to shape, it's time to move. And this is the kind of client that comes into my containers, is it's like, you know deep inside you that you're ready to shift into that next level of life force energy within yourself. You have adapted to the duality of life long enough. You adapted to the duality of life so that you could raise the bar in your business. You adapted to the duality of life so that you could be strong within yourself. You adapted to the duality of life because that's what you knew. And now Pandora's box has opened, and the concept of the sacred triad has come into your world. And when we give space for that, when we allow that to blossom, you'll never want to go back. And so if this is something that you know someone, like you know a businesswoman that could benefit from this, make sure you share this live. If you are someone that wants to go deeper in this, make sure you DM me and we can see if you're a fit. And I appreciate you. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.